Outsmarting ex with custody agreement revenge. My ex-husband Brian was, and still is, a controlling and toxic narcissist. Classic case. Our divorce was intense, but I aimed for fairness. We shared custody, and I granted him decision-making power, thinking he'd be a better father than spouse. Things went smoothly for a while. I found a new boyfriend, Tom, who treated us well. When Brian learned Tom was coming to my kids' school festival, he freaked out. Suddenly, he refused to watch the kids, forbade my friends or family from doing so, and threatened lawsuits if I hired a babysitter he didn't approve. I lost workdays scrambling for childcare due to our complicated location. Brian began asking the kids to call him nightly, which was okay. However, if I said the call had to wait, he'd explode and threaten lawsuits. He started demanding to know our whereabouts at all times. Once I left the kids with Tom for a brief work session. Brian erupted when he found out. Threats of lawsuits flew again. He even threatened to seek child support despite shared custody. He skipped the kids' Christmas play to avoid Tom. He contested medical appointments and refused to pay for shared costs. He denied me access to the kids during his time, contradicting our prior understanding. After about 2 months, I'd had enough. It's disheartening when parents harm their kids due to their egos. Sick of his empty threats, I took action. Brian was on food stamps, falsely claiming he paid rent to his ex-wife. She confirmed this was untrue, so I reported him to the authorities. His ex-wife, not letting him off the hook, sued him for the house value he owed her. I took him to court to revise the custody terms, armed with evidence. I had screenshots of his nasty messages, a letter from his lawyer saying he sought a new job, medical records, receipts, and pictures showing his neglect. He quickly backed down, can't harass me now, and continues paying his first ex-wife.
Getting the better of my alcoholic adulterous wife. When my 18-year marriage ended in divorce due to my alcoholic wife's affair with her addiction counselor, I and my lawyer devised a plan to bring them to justice. I knew that a romantic involvement between a counselor and patient was unacceptable by the regulating authorities. I was especially angered after spending $25,000 on her rehab, only to watch her return to her destructive habits. Just before the divorce was finalized, I reported their behavior to the state body overseeing healthcare professionals. Realizing their actions could jeopardize their careers, I had already gotten him dismissed from a prominent hospital. She backed down from her excessive demands. I offered her a modest settlement, retained ownership of the house, gained custody of our 3 preteen children, and secured child support. Although her lawyer insisted on a clause preventing me from speaking ill of her lover and their relationship, they made an oversight and didn't inquire about any charges I had already filed. As it turned out, my actions were more substantial than they believed. When the Board of Health Professions responded to my complaint post-divorce, I informed them that I'd testify only under subpoena, which takes precedence over a divorce agreement. They were eager to accommodate my request. His license was revoked, and he was placed on a list of sanctioned healthcare professionals. He never returned to work. Financial ruin struck them within a few years, and she divorced him when the money dried up, although it took longer due to a sizable inheritance from his late mother. Adding to this, his wife and I exchanged evidence, like hotel receipts from the time of their affair, aiding each other in our respective divorces. Justice was rightfully served.
Confronting workplace harassment by getting them divorced. I've got a story to tell, and for clear reasons, I'm keeping it anonymous. I work in a small accounting firm with around 150 employees. Most of my colleagues are pretty cool, but there are a few exceptions. One of them, let's call her Jessica, stands out. Jessica is known for being quite flirtatious around the office, and while some people are okay with it, I'm definitely not a fan. My boyfriend and I have been together for 6 years, so I wasn't too thrilled when Jessica started making advances towards me. She would flirt excessively, and even go so far as to touch me inappropriately. I didn't understand why she was targeting me, considering I don't consider myself exceptionally attractive. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give myself a solid 6. The first time she made her advances to a parent, I calmly let her know I was in a committed relationship and that her behavior was unwelcome. I also reported the situation to HR just to make sure I had documentation in case things escalated. For a while, she left me alone, but then she cornered me in the break room one day. She was wearing a low-cut blue blouse that pushed the limits of our dress code, but she seemed to get away with it by flirting with our boss. During this encounter, she hinted that she liked the challenge of pursuing someone who seemed uninterested. That was my breaking point. I left her company and went to HR again. Later that day, my boss called me into his office, but the meeting didn't go as I expected. Instead of taking my concerns seriously, I felt like he brushed them off. That evening, I decided to take action. I contacted my boyfriend's brother, who happens to be a lawyer, and discussed my plan with him. A few days later, Jessica made her advances again. Instead of returning to HR, I went directly to my boss's office and informed him that I was prepared to take legal action if the situation wasn't addressed properly. I had the reports and statements from other female coworkers who had witnessed the incidents. The result? Jessica was fired the very next day. However, I wasn't finished yet. I had learned that Jessica had been going through a messy divorce for the past 9 months. I reached out to my boyfriend's brother again, who then contacted her soon-to-be ex-husband's lawyer. As it turned out, the divorce was partly due to his suspicion of her infidelity. I stepped up as a character witness against her. My testimony played a role in her not receiving any alimony, her ex-husband gaining majority custody of their son, and her having to move. Jessica, wherever you are, if you're reading this, know that your actions had consequences.
Please like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Thank you.